What's up, Slaptail Nation and members of the great Slaptail Army? It is I, your humble squad leader, the Beaveman. Say, do you like coffee? Of course you do. Who doesn't like coffee? Then may I recommend Scars and Stripes Coffee. Scars and Stripes Coffee empowers veterans to start their own e-commerce business. Every product sold empowers a veteran through commission or performance-based bonuses. Purchasing coffee and merchandise directly supports veteran entrepreneurs like friend of the show Carrie, not to be confused with the Ronz's Carrie. Carrie is a veteran of the United States Army. She's made it her personal mission to spread awareness of veteran suicide. Tragically, it is estimated that 22 veterans lose their lives each day to suicide. Now more than ever, veterans need our help and support to transition to civilian life. Take this opportunity to support an organization dedicated to empowering veterans and a veteran entrepreneur who is doing her part to combat veteran suicide. We here at the Slaptail Squad enjoy drinking Scars and Stripes coffee, and you should too. So check out her website at carriesbrews.org. Purchase some coffee and merchandise, and let her know you listen to the Slaptail Squad. You can also find her on Facebook at Carrie's Scars and Stripes Coffee, and on Instagram at Carries_brew. Who knows? If enough of you buy her coffee, maybe we can start offering a listener discount like a legit podcast. End of commercial. It's time for the Slaptail Squad. Assemble, mooch fuckos!
Slaptail Squad, assemble.
All right, welcome members of the Slaptail Nation, my Slaptail Nation army. This is the Slaptail Squad, and I am the Beaveman. And with me today is my number one, Grogu. He's still number one.
Yeah, he's going to be number one for a long time.
Say hello, Grogu. All right.
Cute.
And also is my number two. You got to look out for number one and not step in number two, and that's the Ronz.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great, Ronz. It sure has been a long time since I've heard from you. Say, how you been doing?
I'm doing
Okay.
fine.
Now, also with us today is the
Yeah,
Swan.
moving on.
How's it going, Swan? Say hello, Swan.
Hello, Swan. It's going fine.
Also with us today is friend of the show and self-proclaimed Star Wars expert, Andy.
Okay, I've never exclaimed that, but hey, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Self-professed geek or nerd. How about that? Is that better?
Okay, perfect. Yep, perfect.
Excellent, then. That's what we'll go with. We've got a couple guest questions. First off, why is it at the age of, I'm assuming of your advanced age there, Andy, you are now older than 18 years old. Why is it prefer to be called a child's name? Good question, Grogu.
That is a very good question. I don't know.
Here's the folks
Andrew
to-
sounds too official, and Drew is not short for Andrew, in my humble opinion, so that's why I go with Andy.
Have you been called Drew in the past?
People try, but I always just shut it down really quick.
That's probably a good plan. We knew this guy, and it was a co-worker of mine, and he went by Drew, and we're like, okay, same thing. You're 40 years old. Why are we calling you Drew? Whatever. Drew. He got no respect for that name, let me just say.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Andrew kind of sounds nerdy, though, so if you want to up your nerd game, you should go by Andrew.
It does. Yeah, but nerds also go by like fun names or like shorter names. So Andy sounds kind of nerdy. It's also the name of the chick from the Goonies. So when I was younger, I hated that name because I was like, oh no, it's a girl's name. But then as you get older, you're like, well, Andy was kind of hot, so whatever.
So the beard never gave it away that you were a man?
Strangely, no. I just started growing this. Let's see, my oldest is 16, so 16 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
If
So how do
you were a what's the word for it? If you're a if you dress in drag, and you have a beard, they actually have a term for that.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, it's called bearded drag.
Oh, okay. I thought it would be something a little more clever than bearded drag.
I don't know. I thought that was clever.
Let's keep it simple. Let's keep it simple.
No, simple
Bearded
words.
drag, like bearded dragon. Bearded drag.
Oh, okay. I like
That's
that.
why it's clever. I think it's clever. Whatever. I'm not going to talk about that though, because those types of conversations make the Ronz uncomfortable. Ronz,
I know. Look at
Well, I have a question about that though. So
bearded
if you were a
drag?
bearded drag, because see, I don't know, I don't think I've ever seen that. Do they make up and like put full makeup on, like eyeliner and like that, or do they keep the whole bearded man face?
That because you were with me when there was a bearded drag person at the drag show that we went to, and
I
that's
don't
how.
remember.
We're
don't
finding
remember.
new things about you,
But-
Beaveman. Were you a participant in this drag queen show?
Okay, so here's something that most people don't understand, and let me enlighten folks out there. Although I think that my audience is pretty enlightened. Some of the most fun times you will ever have is hanging out with people that do alternate things. So we went to there was a place in Battle Creek that actually had a drag show. I don't know how many days a week they had it. Do you remember?
I think it's
And
like
we
once a week or
we
every
went-
other week, something like that.
we went there to see it, and it was a great time. It was awesome. Had a fun time. So yes, Rons, you must step out and do these things. But now you can actually, if you've met anybody who's trans, Rons, then you can talk about as if you know everything about that community like you often do.
I know somebody who is a drag queen.
Here we go. Here we
Yeah, I
go.
do.
Does
Actually,
that make
one of
you
my-
not
No,
prejudiced
exactly.
against them?
No, I'm
well?
not. One of my neighbors was a drag queen.
What street do you live on? Everyone's like, I have gay neighbors and they have children, and now I have a trans neighbor.
Hey. Don't
Fun.
don't feel jealous because I have an eclectic group of people I know. Seriously, right? I include you in that eclectic, but yeah, he worked at a clothing store in a casino, and he showed me some of his drag queen pictures.
Did you help
And-
him strip down? Did you help
Hey,
him get,
no,
get changed?
no. But I did help him put his patio in.
Did you rescue him by his crotch?
No, I did.
Yeah,
You're
this
gonna
guy's
have
gonna
to
fall.
show me that.
This guy's gonna fall. Let me grab him.
So, B-Man, how do we know Andrew?
His name is Andy.
Oh,
Andy.
Andy. Okay.
That's not even
Andy.
important. Because
I
if
don't even
tell
see him
you-
with.
No,
I
that's
don't
not
even see him
important
with
because
Woody
if
or
I tell you-
Buzz.
If I tell you, you're going to say your favorite thing in the world, and we're not going to do that. So I'm just going to ask some guest questions. I already asked the name
Hey,
question.
shut up, Ronz.
Okay.
Next
Well,
question.
Andrew, did you know I'm a black belt?
No, see, what I
No.
fucking said was
Let's mute him. Can we mute him?
Okay. Okay.
say that.
Yes, Ronz.
Mute
I
yourself,
actually knew
Ronz.
that.
We'll tell you when you
Now,
can come
could
back
you
in.
also say that the bearded drag is somebody who has a beard and is really boring, so Ronz could be a bearded drag?
Oh, not even
Uh,
5 minutes into the podcast, Andy is just nailing it right out of the ballpark. You know what? I'm gonna see you at the dojo one day. I'm gonna go, hey Andy, hey Andrew. You're like, you're gonna look away. I understand that.
Yes.
Question
I'm
I'm
not gonna be worried at all.
I'm
No,
using
no,
Andy
that's
for
all.
my team. Sorry, Ronz, you're out. Andy's on my team.
That's okay. That's quite okay. I understand.
That works.
So random question. Here's my random question that I'm going to ask Andy now.
Okay.
Okay. What household excuse me, what household item do you feel you would have a good explanation for if it got stuck in your rectum?
Oh boy.
Did something happen at work, man?
Shut up,
Let's see,
Ronz.
what household item? An old school thermometer?
Wow.
I mean, you would not have to explain that very
No,
in-depth.
see,
Like,
because
that was
I
the-
could say
that
I
was
was
the question.
just, I could say, Doc, I was
He
just
took
trying
the,
to take my
he took the
temperature.
conservative approach.
Took the conservative approach. I could say in theme of the episode an actual lightsaber because I have a few of those, but it really wouldn't.
And
Wow.
what would your excuse be when you go into the ER with that stuck there?
It lights
let's
up.
see. Yeah.
if you
Not
open your-
you, Ron. Shut your mouth.
I would probably say I thought I was one with the Force, and it didn't work out.
Oh, I fell on it. Usually works.
I felt like
Same question for you, Rons, except I'm going to change the wording just a little bit.
By all means.
What household item have you had to have removed from your rectum? And you know,
Oddly enough, a lightsaber,
Oh boy.
but it wasn't turned on.
Did you fall on it?
I fell on it. No. Why would you word that differently? No, I've never had anything up my ass yet. But there's always that one time where you go to a drag queen club and
Said he'll try anything once.
twice.
what does that have to, why do you naturally assume that you would get something shoved up your ass if you went to a drag queen club?
Right. They're just there to have fun.
Yeah, I clearly you don't understand. You got to get some acculturation. We got to get you over with that. Have you ever been to the Pride Festival, Rons?
I've never seen you march in it.
Yeah.
No, I've never seen you march in it. No. So
That wasn't the
So
question.
that wasn't the
Ronz.
question.
whoa, Andy, you are just a guest right now. Don't jump on their side. I'm gonna need to reserve you for my corner. No, I don't think I've ever been to a Pride parade.
You should go.
No, yeah, I should. I really
When this
should.
is all over. When this is all over, we'll take you to one. We'll take you to the festival, and we'll go with the Tremonde. It's a good time. Second, here's my last guest question before we get into our. I actually have two more. Here we go. All right, here's the situation, Andy. You're at a friend's house for a small gathering. Post-COVID, this is when we're actually going to be able to get back to it.
Okay.
You have to take a shit. Unfortunately, you clog the toilet and there's no plunger in sight. What do you do?
Boy, if this hadn't happened before, I wouldn't know what I'd do. No. I'd probably go out there and quickly tell. I would place blame on my friend's kids and be like, "I went into your bathroom and
It's like, I don't know.
was already clogged." That's what I would totally do. Hopefully, the kids are home first before I did that.
Clearly, your children have eaten too much bologna.
Yeah, clearly, too much
Brother,
cheese
I
over the
swear.
last few weeks.
Exactly. You know, I can remember being as a teenager being just amazingly impressed at the size of the shit my older brother would take, and he would not plunge it. He would just shit and just leave it in there, and you would go in there and be this giant log of shit in there. I'm like, how did this come out of this man? And my older brother was like, even when he was like 17, 18 years old, was like 130 pounds. And so you're like, how did this log size, bigger than a baby's arm, come out of this man's ass and just be sitting there? And now looking back on it, I should ask him, but he's kind of religious now. He probably wouldn't answer the question. But looking back on it now, I feel like he left it there like some sort of badge of honor, just so that everybody could see it.
Yeah,
Or maybe he just didn't want to plug
shit
the
trophy.
toilet and have to deal with it, so he left it for you to deal with.
You know what I used
like
to do?
somebody who's left a lot of messes for somebody else to clean up.
Yeah. Oh, she still does now. She's very proud of the staining of the toilet that she does and leaves it behind. You know what I used to do with it, because I'm like, well, fuck this guy. I'm going to see if my mighty 13, 14-year-old pea stream will cut this thing in half.
That's gross. What if it like splashed up on you?
Every guy's done it before. We've all chopped
trauma.
poop with our pee.
We use the Force.
Force of our stream, you mean?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Last question for Andy before we get on with this. Actually, before I go, I really want to touch back on that. Same question for you, Ronz. Small gathering, you clog the toilet. What do you do?
Oh, I blame everybody else. I walk out of that place, right? But I make sure that I'm not leaving, right? I make sure that I try to flush it down. And then if I can't, I kind of make sure that, I lock the door so they can't get in. So it looks like the kids did it.
In there?
And what do you climb out through the window?
Climb out the bucket? What do you mean? So what I do is I lock myself in, but then I don't know how to get out.
Actually,
never invite Ronz over for a gathering.
No, this actually happened to me at one point, but I look for a plunger because most toilets have a plunger, and I sit down there and I will plunge it down. Right, I'll make a mess, and then they go, "What happened? Why is the floor wet?" I'm like, "Your kids were just in here, and you should have seen what they did to the toilet." I'm just being a good guest and cleaning it up.
I remember when your son was younger, that kid used to destroy the fucking toilet at that place.
Yeah, every kid has done that. Every
what
kid.
does this kid
Don't try to
fucking
defend your kid.
What does this kid fucking eat?
He eats everything, but every kid has done that. Every kid,
the past few days.
Yeah, every kid has done that at the place that you will not mention. That's the dojo, but every kid has done that.
Yeah, yours is smelly, really smelly.
yeah. Blame my kid because he's got a good diet.
I do, because I am citing actual times that I saw him walk out of there and had to go afterwards. I'm like, this kid fucking just destroyed this goddamn toilet.
Hey, I feel proud that he
RJ's defense, I mean, he did live at the dojo for like 8 hours a day, so he's gonna have to poop at sometimes.
Stop the kid octopus and all kinds of other fucking weird ass shit.
Why is octopus eating bad?
Because obviously that was what he was eating and destroying the fuck. Anyway.
Second
question.
No, what about the swan? You haven't asked the swan. Has she ever destroyed a toilet and walked away from it?
Totally. I do it all the time, and I'll own it too. But I don't want to clean it.
Because I'll go in there to pee, and flush the toilet and it's clogged.
Then clearly you clogged the toilet.
It's like piss. I don't think so. The second part of this question is: let's say, for example, that you're at a party. I'm going to ask the Swan this first. You're at a party and you have to shit, and so you shit, but it goes down, but you totally Hershey stain the toilet quite a bit. What do you do?
Leave it. Walk out. Don't even pretend like it's. I'll own it if someone calls me out on it, but otherwise, just pretend like you didn't notice it and walk out.
Walk away.
Yep, that's what I do now. I don't watch it go down. I flush it and I go wash my hands.
You got to make sure it goes down before you wash your hands.
You got to be proud of that.
I mean, I'll look
guess you don't have to if
afterwards
you're not
because
gonna clean up the
sometimes you need an extra flush in case it doesn't. So I'll
There's
look and then I'll wash my hands again.
There is a
What if you're at work?
no. Well, there's an entire South Park episode dedicated to this very topic.
Well, saying South Park, motherfucker.
I like to poop at work a lot. I do that. Those toilets are industrial. They flush anything down.
Okay, well, all right. Well, I'm going to ask somebody else.
And I get paid to
On
poop there. I like to do it because I'm like, oh, I spent 4 minutes in here. Yep, I made like $6.
You leave a major shit stain. There's no toilet brush in there.
Pooping to pay. Now that's a concept.
Shut up, Ron. You're missing your part of the question.
What's the question?
See, if you would shut the fuck up when I'm talking.
You're cutting out.
I'm cutting out because you won't shut up.
Your internet sucks.
No, my internet does not suck. It's his mic.
All right, listen. Here's that question. Same question I just asked her, Ron. What do you do if you go take a shit at this small gathering and you totally shit stain the toilet and there's no toilet brush?
Oh, see, yeah. I just use my hands. I get in there and I wipe it down.
Nasty.
No, I leave it alone. I kind of walk out. I wash my hands and I walk out.
You stain up somebody's fucking toilet and you walk out.
Well, what would you do then?
So you do that in my fucking house? I swear to God. All right, let me ask our guest, Andy.
Okay. Maybe it's just how I was brought up, but I take some extra toilet paper and just give it a quick clean and then wash my hands.
That's what I would do also. Thank you very much.
Aww.
You can poop in our toilet, Andy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I look forward to one day.
All right, last question. As we're moving on, this is our segue. Andy, Star Trek or Star Wars?
Wars.
All right, then.
All day long.
Ronz?
Oh, I'm a big sci-fi nerd myself. I like Deep Space Nine.
Question I asked.
I know,
Trek,
but
clearly he's old.
Or Star Trek.
But I also, the Star Wars franchise took a dive, but I did watch The Mandalorian, and it was great.
Was Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Trek. He's
Star
old.
Wars, I guess. What do you mean?
You're such a liar. You said you like Deep Space Nine.
I do, and I like The Mandalorian. What's the diff? I mean,
so he's a newly.
Difference? Did you just say what's the difference?
As a sci-fi lover, I like them both. Right. I also liked what is it? Alienation. If you've ever seen that, that was a great show.
I'm alienated right now.
Right? But I do like the Star Wars. What I've seen so far.
Oh my God, you just say Star Trek. We're not going to hate you for saying that you prefer Star Trek over Star Wars.
We're just going to make fun of you, but it's okay.
Whatever. I can't. Whatever. Okay, so what do you like, Swan?
Answer the question. The question was Star Wars or Star Trek.
He's trying to be political and give his.
No, you know what? Honestly, I've seen more Star Wars than I have Star Trek, so I'd say Star Wars. These aren't the droids I'm looking for.
The Swan. I didn't watch Star Wars until I was older. But my dad used to watch Star Trek. Look at that nerd. He's got a Star Trek something or other. Probably that little beacon thing. He probably wears it.
It's a can opener.
I grew up. Well, what?
It's a Star Wars Star Trek can opener. I got for ours.
That means you're a nerd, dude.
I also have.
So anyway, my dad watched Star Trek when I was younger, so I did watch those. But I think I'd probably like Star Wars better.
You think? Okay.
I have the original.
I do know I like Star Wars better because I do.
Look at that. I have the original VHS. Return of the Jedi.
I do.
Yeah.
All right, then. Well, you mentioned the Mandalorian, and that's what we're going to talk about. So you watched every episode of The Mandalorian, Ronz?
I did. as you
Doesn't have
said.
anything better to do.
Wow.
Yeah, we're all
Wow.
stuck at home.
I'm not.
Well, at least we should be. Well, after work.
Right.
You watched every episode, Ronz.
I did.
All right, so listen up, Slaptail Nation. We are going to do major spoilers. If you haven't seen The Mandalorian, you might want to shut your shit off now, because we're about to get into it. And not like major specifics. We're just going to relive some finer moments and talk about what I really want to talk about, which is the last episode of The Mandalorian. I cried a little. I might have cried a bit. There might have been
A
some
lot.
tears. Might have been some tears gushing out of my eyes. Now, I'm going to ask this question again, Ronz.
Okay.
Did you watch every episode of The Mandalorian?
I did.
To include the second season.
Yes.
I just want to make sure.
And did you watch those episodes all the way through to the end, Ronz?
Yes, I did.
Did you just watch
Okay.
the highlights on YouTube? If you just watch the highlights, that is not the same thing.
Yes, I did. In fact, I could give you a spoiler in the middle of season 2 if you want me to.
Spoiler in the middle of season 2?
Yeah,
Why would you do that?
because you want to test me to make sure.
Okay, all right, good. All right, give it to me. How about I just ask you a question?
So, okay, go ahead.
What is the Mandalorian's name?
Oh, Djarin, something like that. I'm gonna get it wrong.
There's some sort of karate spin on it. Yeah, it's your
But
close.
yeah, it's Djarin. Or
No, now, are you looking that shit up?
No,
Yeah.
I'm not.
He's
I'm looking
Googling it right
No,
now.
no.
That's how they said it, though. You're
Okay,
like,
and get
I
this
think
right.
it's, I think it. Hold on.
How
now.
many times does the Mandalorian take off his helmet, and who does he take it off for?
Oh.
Who is your daddy? And what does your
Does he
daddy do?
Mhm. Right. And what does he? He only takes it off. I think a total of 4 times. Right.
That's your trivia question. Okay, well let's see. Now he took it off.
He Googled
When
some
he was-
trivia.
I'm thinking now he took it off to eat on
Yes, he
that
did.
planet where he had all the little blue shrimpies.
Mhm.
Let me.
The Krills.
He had it taken off in the last episode of the first season because he got fucked up, and the IG unit had to heal him with some what is it? Back
And
stab.
why
Yep,
was he
Baka.
allowed? Yeah, why was he allowed to take it off though? Why did he actually say, "I will take it off"? Or he didn't actually say that, but why did he say?
Gonna be is this your trivia? Oh, let's do it. All right, it's now it has become the Mandalorian Ron's trivia episode. Go ahead.
No, I
Okay,
believe
Ronz.
you, but you were testing me, and I'm like, do you know
Oh,
why?
go
he
ahead,
took-
motherfucker. Oh, do it. I want to see it. Go ahead.
Okay,
Go ahead. Ask your trivia question. Go ahead.
Why did he take off? Why did he take off his helmet for the robot or the droid?
Well, technically, he didn't take it off.
Because-
The droid took it off and
Yes.
allowed him because he's not a human being, and therefore he
Exactly.
wasn't showing his face to another human being.
Exactly. Yeah, that was so
Or-
cool.
Or, sorry,
Dang.
it's actually Star Wars, so it's a non-living being
Yeah.
because we don't know if they're quote unquote humans or not.
Yeah, I thought that was so cool when he did that. It's like when he goes, "But I'm not
Was
living."
it?
I thought it was
Cool.
cool. Okay, so back
Was it
to
amazing or awesome?
I thought
Did
it
it
was.
inspire awe?
It did.
Oh, what's your next trivia question there? Oh, yeah, we didn't even answer you how many times he's taken his mask off. So that was the
No,
that was
you-
the second time.
there was about 4 times. So
Was that
we'll
the second
move
time?
on.
Hold
Mhm.
on. Let's see. There's the last episode. He takes it off, and there is that might
The
be
second to last, the second to last episode with Bill Burr when he has to take it off so the system can scan him.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
find where
Yeah.
Moff Gideon is. hmm
He had to put some stormtrooper shit on, whatever you call it.
He also had to take off his mask to put his new helmet on. That was made of Bethta armor.
Oh boy.
But okay, fair enough. But- Anyway,
No, what else you got there? What else you got there, Ron?
He's Googling trivia questions
yeah,
right now.
I'm Googling.
Not
I'm
anything that
Googling.
you know,
No.
Keep your hands up in sight, Ronz.
what do you think was the weakest episode?
Oh,
honestly.
jeez.
Of the first season or this most recent season, Beaverman?
The first season. I don't know if there was a weak episode. Was there? Oh yeah, there was kind of a weak episode the second season. It kind of was a repeat of the first season episode.
Right. I'll take this, and it's a real cheat answer because I liked all of them, but I will say it seemed like every time he would get somewhere, he would have to then do something to get what he needed next. So it was very video gamey, but I liked everything that went along with it, and it was done so well that I said, I'm willing to forgive that.
Yeah.
So your totally political answer is you liked them all.
Yes, but the first season, episode 5, when they went to Tatooine with that annoying kid who was a wannabe bounty hunter, that was probably my least favorite of the first season.
Yes,
but it was still, yes, the gunslinger kid. But I still think it was a good season overall, and that was weak. But a weak Star Wars is still better than most everything else for me. So
yeah, for sure.
Yes.
How about you? How about you there, Ronz? What do you think? What episode? What do you think was the weakest? Okay,
that's the thing I liked about it. The dialogue from
you're like, I liked it all. It was all weak.
No.
All weak.
I thought it was going to be heavy in dialogue, and the Mandalorian, it was just straightforward. He walked in, he told you what he wanted, and that was it. He didn't say anything else. You can either come. Now,
how does that answer my question? How does that answer my question?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I didn't have.
You don't know what the question was, or
it didn't. I didn't have a weak episode. I mean, it pretty much kept me on edge to make me want to see more. Right? Yeah, I agree with what Andy said. I mean, yeah, every time he wanted to do something and he got close to it, they moved it a bit further away, but eventually he got to where he was going. Right? They kept on convoluting it, but other than that, I mean, that's what a plot does.
Do you know what Ronz reminds me of? Reminds me of Miss Lippy in Billy Madison. He's like, the puppy that could, or the puppy, he kept going.
Yeah, I watched every episode. I thought it was good. In fact, I liked certain characters that I didn't think I would like. What was it? Kui. I love Kui. That was great. That was actually done by 2 people. I didn't realize that. Right? Yeah.
Kui. You mean wait? Do you mean Quill, the little the Ugnaught?
Yeah,
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, my mistake. Yeah, because he would walk in. Guy. Yeah, I love that because he would walk in.
Confused. I'm like, who the fuck is Kui?
I'm sorry. Right? Yeah. I just
maybe
was when he made some Kui sounds, but that was about it.
I just like how he walks in and it's like he was so no nonsense. It's like, oh, then why did you rescue me? Because you'll bring peace to the valley and that's it. That's all I need you for. All right, cool.
Okay, and then let me since you didn't ever answer that fucking question.
I like you.
But did you find any of the? You consider any of the episodes to be rather weak in the first season, or not as cool as the other ones?
Only the ones that didn't have as much Baby Yoda.
His name is not Baby Yoda.
His name's Baby Yoda, and he's so cute.
His name is actually not Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda. He's so cute.
Okay.
So yeah. Any episode that did not have a lot of Baby Yoda, not a fan. I don't know. I can't even tell you a specific one.
Okay, that's fair. Well, I'm gonna say that I did feel like one episode was pretty weak in the first season, and it's also I think a lot of it is because also Jon Favreau didn't write every episode, and also he didn't direct every episode, and I also have to say that clearly he's become the richest motherfucker. Since his, if you look at a picture of Jon Favreau now, do you realize he was a sex symbol like in the 80s? Isn't that sad? Isn't that disturbing? Anyway, no, the one where they did the prison break, I thought that was the weakest episode of season 1.
Oh,
I like the Gunslinger because it had Amy Sedaris in it, and I love Amy Sedaris because she's hilarious and she's great at making faces. That's one of those things where she's really good at, but so I liked it. I liked it from that, and of course it had Man also because she was the badass assassin. So it's always good to have her in there. She's got to be making bank from Disney, as wasn't she like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. also, which is Marvel, which is owned by Disney. So I think we'll be seeing a lot of her.
I think we will.
But no, I thought that was the weakest episode.
Yeah. Remember she was the voice of animated Mulan, and then they made the live action which she was in at the end. So yeah, she's Disney through and through. She's making tons of money. Well,
you know how Hollywood is. Anyway, if there's going to be an Asian movie, you got to put the the only Asian actors in it. And if there's going to be any Latinos required, there's only like 3 of them also. So that's you always got to have them. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Robin Chow.
Yeah,
Robin
she had
Chow
one
started
scene in.
as a
Hey,
Mexican,
shut up!
but
I'm
he's
talking.
Asian.
She had one scene. She had one scene in. She had one scene in the live action Mulan. It was like one scene she was in it.
Mm-hmm.
I even made that comment. Remember that, Swan? I was like, oh, look, there's Ming-Na Wen. They had to throw her in there for one scene.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. How about the second season? Second season, any week episodes? Ronz?
Once again, the ending, I like the ending. I thought it was going to be a little bit more badass because.
Oh my fuck! Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, I thought they were. No,
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Here we
I
go.
thought. No, I thought they.
I'm not.
I thought they were
Talk
going
about that episode.
No, no. I thought
I'll tell
they
you
were
right
going
now.
to take out.
We'll talk about that. Don't talk about that episode right now. Pick a different one. Talk about a different one. We're gonna come back to that later. We'll talk about that right now.
You know,
What?
it ranks right up there. But you asked me to pick out. Could have been stronger for me. Yeah, it could have been because.
What I
Okay. Yeah.
weaker episode.
Yeah. All right. No. No. Not at all. I liked every episode.
You're gonna say.
What?
You're gonna say that. I mean, no. Seriously, honestly, you're gonna say that the last episode wasn't good enough. Is that what you're gonna say?
No, you won't let me state what I want to state, so I can't defend what I want to say. So It wasn't as weak as, it wasn't strong as that because there was one main character I wanted to see really die that didn't die.
Okay.
All right.
Who did you want to see die?
Moff Gideon. And I wanted to see the showdown, and because I just wanted to see the rage out of I can't think of the Mandalorian's name right now. Oh, because he laughed at her because she didn't have the dark saber, and it's like, and then when spoiler alert, the guy with the cloak shows up, I thought that would have been an epic showdown, right? Of them just fighting.
Why would that be? How's that an epic showdown for who we're not talking about? How's that epic? He would have went in there and kicked the fuck out of them.
Yeah, but I really wanted to see
showdown. He would have went in there and be like, not even worth my time. I'll take that from you right now. Okay.
With my pinky.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Moff Gideon was always one step ahead of everybody. He really was. And to see him like he was basically trapped, I wanted to see if he would fight his way out. And because if he's willing to be one step ahead of everybody. All right, enough.
No, my head hurt. I had to ask this question. So I actually I want to go back to what you were saying, Ronz. You were saying that it seems like everywhere he goes, they're like, oh, can you do old? But I think that it goes right whole back to that thing where they're kind of basing it or trying to base it off of make it like a Western, kind of like he's Clint Eastwood.
Yeah. Yeah, but usually the bad guy in the Western has that one ace up his sleeve and he fights to the very end where he dies.
Clint Eastwood didn't die. What movie did he die in? Like Fistful of Dollars, Good, the Bad, the Ugly, For a Few Dollars More. He didn't die in any of those. He didn't die in the Spaghetti Westerns.
Yeah, but he wasn't the bad guy.
What was the only time he died? The Gran Torino? That's the only movie he's died in.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, but you don't see Gran Torino flying through space now, do you?
Well, okay. No, the one that I felt was weak was how they kind of just recreated the thing again, where they had to go fight the giant worm. I'm like, that's the same thing that he does every fucking episode, just so that he can. I will give you this armor if you help us go destroy this giant worm dragon. I'd have been like, I just kind of left a place that had a bunch of armor because they killed a bunch of my people. So I don't really need your. I don't even know why he wanted Boba Fett's armor in the first place. You know what I was thinking when I was watching that show and they had Boba Fett on there?
What were you thinking?
I was thinking, why didn't they have the original Boba Fett? And my son's like, he's like 70 fucking years old. I'm like, so? He could have fucking done it. And then what happens like a week later? And now he's dead.
Yeah, he passed away.
Oh, look, Ronz is frozen. Either that or he's in awe.
No, I'm
something
listening.
Awesome.
I'm listening. I'm listening. Yeah, Andy, Yeah, you'll find this out if I don't say anything. They think I'm doing something
He
or
is
my.
frozen.
It's because your face isn't moving.
Oh, it is.
Anyway, what would you? Did you when they tied in Boba Fett? Did you expect that to happen, Andy?
The only reason I expected Boba Fett to kind of show up, I didn't expect it in the way they did, but in the first season, in that episode 5, when he walks up and you see, Fennec Shan, Ming Wing Ma's character laying there dead, quote unquote, you hear that old spur sound, which is the exact same sound we heard when Boba Fett shows up in Empire Strikes Back. So I remember saying to some friends that watched it with me, I was like, that's going to be Boba Fett eventually. I just wasn't sure how they were going to bring it in. I thought they were going to resolve that at the end of season 1. I'm actually thankful they pushed it off until season 2. So I thought it would be a little bit different how he would in turn show up, but I actually really like how he came in, and he's kind of not this just straight bad guy like we always thought he was. He kind of has some honor there and some other, just kind of his own way of doing things. So
I feel like they ruined Boba Fett for me.
Really?
Not the Mandalorian. They didn't ruin Boba Fett for me, but the second the second trilogy, which was the first first 3, I felt like they ruined Boba Fett. Yeah, because they made him, you find out about the Clone Wars and you see the clone that and Jango's like, "Oh, come on, Boba, we got to get out of here." And you're like, "Oh, fuck, man, that's Boba Fett?" You're like, lame. They fucking ruined it. Fucking ruined Boba Fett. You like him because in the movies he's super quiet. He doesn't speak, and when he's around, he just gives like that fucking nod, like, yeah, I'm a fucking badass, and that sort of thing. It's kind of like how they ruined Darth Vader for me. I mean, you can't totally ruin Darth Vader for me, but when you make him a pussy, and then when you grew up being totally frightened of him as a child, when you went to the movie theater, you're like, fuck, it's Darth Vader, and then they make him like some big pussy who's in love. Good, baby, I love you so fucking much, and I just want to be with you. And you're like, oh my god, that whole fucking movie was a love story. And like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, Anakin. Oh god, he was such a pussy. And at the end, when he's Darth Vader, they're like, right, it's Darth Vader. And he's like, like Frankenstein. And you're like, shut the fuck up. God, why'd you ruin Darth Vader?
You see, I actually kind of like that, but that's just me.
Well, you're younger than I am.
That's true.
You don't probably, I was very young when I saw Star Wars in the movie theaters, and I remember Darth Vader just being scary as motherfucking shit. Like, oh my god, he's still my favorite of all time villains, Darth Vader.
Agreed.
Yeah, but was he really a villain?
What?
At the end, he's the one that destroyed the Empire. He actually came around to the good side.
Did he? Is that what happened?
Yeah. Right?
I don't remember that at all.
No. Yeah.
Can you explain to me what happened? Because I'm not familiar with that storyline.
Yeah.
What
maybe
happened?
You should maybe you should watch that episode to see what
happened. What? Can you tell me what? Because I'm not up on that. What are you saying, that the Emperor's dead and Darth Vader did something to him?
Yeah, kind of. They had a falling out.
Oh.
Well, one of them had a falling.
Yeah, a very long falling.
Hi-oh. What'd you think about the whole Boba Fett thing there, Swan? Because you're an expert on Boba Fett.
No, I'm not. I don't even know anything about Boba Fett. No, I don't.
There was a funny line there though with the guy where Boba Fett's like, "It was my father's armor," and that lady's like, "You mean your donor?" You mean your donor's armor? But then I was thinking, I'm like, that's a solid slam. But then I'm like, aren't all of our fathers donors?
Essentially, yeah, they do.
I mean, they all donate.
Yeah.
They all donate some sort of genetic material for us to be here. So, no. I'd like to know how he all of a sudden got a time to do a paint job on his armor.
Oh, he's got a little like airbrush in the back of Slave One.
All of a sudden he's like, shh. No, I'm like, I gotta go save some people, but
hold on, I gotta make sure these lines are right.
Yeah,
maybe it was just really dirty and he cleaned it.
Oh, motherfucker! That is not what it was like. It had a fucking brand new paint job.
Sorry, Swan. That was a brand new paint job. He didn't.
No. Maybe there was a droid on there, and it's like, "Would you like me to paint your armor?" Right? And they
he's got an
maybe-
Android.
Or maybe he was like Tony Stark and all. He's just like, oh, see, I'd like this color, and his computer did it really quick.
Well,
Is that what
their
I'm saying?
technology is a lot more advanced than we give it credit for.
Well, that's the funny thing about it. You know, it's supposed to be all this high tech, high advanced society, but they're doing shit like talking into a comm link that's gigantic, or you know, they've got bombs that are huge. And you're like, why would tech wise you be able to have
Would
small
you
shit?
prefer them to talking to maybe like a huge pink dildo? Right?
No.
No, I mean your comment's always going to be small.
No, they're not small. That's what I'm
Party.
saying. They're
Well,
not
I
small.
thought it was small.
You think that comm link is small?
Yeah, it looked like the size of a film canister.
And why they always had to like talk with their hand. I'm like, well, that's not even tech. Like, if you wanted to, like, you can talk into what he's got on right now. He's got fucking earbuds on. You could just put that in, have your receiver in your pocket. Why do you have to have something that's handheld to talk into?
Maybe you can ask them at the next Comic-Con.
Why would I ask them at the next Comic-Con? I think that they do it on purpose. They're like, okay, this is supposed to be advanced. We're going to have all this really cool advanced shit, but then we're going to have shit that looks campy. I think that's what they do that on purpose.
Okay. Why not though? I mean, it makes I don't know. For me, I thought the entire, you know, when you looked at everything, they kept true to some of the Star Wars sets, which was really cool. I expected to see the Cantina band somewhere playing in the background, right? I really did. Especially, and you know, I expected certain lines like what is it on what's the line? You'll find the most villainous scum of the planet right there. That's sort of line.
Of the planet? No, I don't think they said it. They never said that.
Yeah, I'm kind of paraphrasing.
Yeah.
But once again, I really did like one thing.
Spit it out.
I took away from was the lack of dialogue, which kept the story moving. Right? It didn't allow you to fill in the blanks, but it was like short and sweet. And I like Amy Sedaris' character, who just came in and she just berated him. It's like, you know, I'm not a babysitter. I'm gonna have to charge you extra. Are you selling it? I'll buy it. If it pods, you know, splits, whatever, I'll buy one, right? And I like how she's playing cards with the droids. I thought that was so cool. So, yes.
Is Ron schizophrenic?
Why?
Your random blurps. I mean,
Well, I'm just trying to keep it moving forward. I'm sorry.
You know what? Give him some credits, Juan.
okay.
Oh, thank you.
What am I
Stop
giving
being
you credit for?
Stop being so harsh.
Because I actually did watch it, so you know, I'm bringing up key facts that you know, if you didn't watch
Yeah,
it,
in
you
a
know about it.
schizophrenic sort of fashion. Like,
Well, you guys always. By the time I got caught up to you with Amy Sedaris, you guys have already moved on. I just wanted to go back and say, hey, I watched it too.
Well, what I liked seeing was my funniest. The funniest one was where they're on the where they're on the planet with the little shrimpy shrimps, and then he fights what's her name? Was it Gina Carano or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He fights her and he's getting his ass handed to him, and then all of a sudden you see Baby Yoda and he's like just drinking his bone broth, and you're like, what?
his name's not Baby Yoda.
Fucking hilarious. Yes, Grogu. Well, we didn't know then, like you said.
Well,
But the
yeah,
whole
that
time
means
I was
I
like,
called him
man,
Baby
I'd
Yoda.
let Gina Carano kick my ass. Like, hell
I-
yeah.
I thought that was so hilarious because here they're fighting and it's a badass choreographed fight.
And you saw something. Then you saw the Baby Yoda drinking bone broth. Is that what you were about to say?
Yeah, it kind of diffused the situation right there. I thought it was, yeah, because,
So you like the same thing that I just brought up?
well, you know, there's one extra thing though. If you've never watched the Star Wars canon, then yeah, that was okay. That was a great moment. But knowing that who the lineage of the Yoda species are, we'll say, he could have ended that fight anytime he wanted to, as shown in when he got captured by Moff Gideon, right? Because he goes into the cell and he's throwing those stormtroopers around like rag dolls.
That was
Right.
funny.
That was hilarious. And Moff Gideon puts his hand up and it's like, no. Let's see where this goes. He could have ended that fight anytime he wanted to, but he was just sitting there drinking his soup, and I thought that was so hilarious.
Well, it was kind of funny because when if you remember in the what was it, in the second season or the first season? I don't remember where they were arm wrestling each other, and then he started choking her.
Yeah.
He's like, let me do some dark side force shit right here. He started choking her out. Which personally, I'd like to see Gina Carano get choked out also.
But
Problems.
do you know? No. Do you know why he did it though?
I'd like to see her get choked on something. Hi-oh!
Oh, do you know why Grogu choked her out?
I don't care, dude. I'm just you're not even laughing at my joke. What's wrong with you?
Yes, I am. I am
You don't even
laughing.
get my joke.
No, you told me to
You
watch
don't
The
even understand
Mandalorian.
You don't even understand what I would like to see her get choked on.
Hi-oh! A lightsaber?
Yeah, something like that.
No, what's really funny is that scene where Moff Gideon's got he asks Grogu, he's like, you ever seen one of these? And he lights up the dark saber and he reaches for it and he's like, oh no, you can't have that. I was like, God, I hope in the last episode we could see him with a tiny lightsaber. That'd be fucking badass. You see him jumping around like Yoda did in whatever fucking episode. The only redeeming quality of the second three, or the quote first three for me, is when Yoda's doing fucking monkey flips everywhere with it all over the place with a lightsaber. I was like, yeah, let's see Grogu do that shit, man. See him with a tiny lightsaber. That would kick ass.
It would be so cute. Do you think he's gonna grow?
Well, okay. So here's the goofy question, right? So as we were watching this show, me and the boy were like, where is this in history? Where are we at? It's like they keep talking that the Empire fell, but which time of the Empire falling are they talking about? Is this the time after the Ewoks? Is this the time after Return of the Jedi, or when? And what we couldn't figure out for all this fucking time is, how come nobody knows what a fucking Jedi is? That's what I didn't understand the whole time. Like, how come nobody knows what a Jedi is? How come nobody knows what the Force is? And how come nobody has any idea of what Yoda fucking is?
Yeah, where did the history go?
Yeah,
I mean, we know the history.
Like 5 years.
Yeah.
After Jedi, so there really hasn't been a Jedi since since basically Yoda and them 30 some years ago, essentially.
And if I remember correctly, the Outer Rim is where they're at, and usually on the Outer Rim, no one messes with, because sort of like the Badlands of the universe, right? The desert. So if they have their own set of rules, so they play by their own. They enforce the law by them, and they only go with whoever's in power at that time. You saw the shift of power constantly of whoever was in charge, whether it was good or bad. So,
yeah, but you have to remember, though, there was times where they were on Tatooine. So what badasses have been? I mean, Luke came there and kicked the fuck out of everybody. But long before him, his dad came there and destroyed the freaking Tusken Raiders, an entire village, chopped them to pieces with a lightsaber. And then isn't this where Darth Maul was hanging out for years too? Wasn't he on somewhere on Tatooine, or was that a different place?
No, Darth Maul went there to find
Obi-Wan.
To find Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan when they landed in Episode 1. But he was basically chasing the Queen ship to bring her back to the Emperor. So he was
right. But in the Clone Wars, doesn't he seek Obi-Wan out on Tatooine?
That is in Rebels, which is the sequel to Clone Wars. Yes.
Okay.
So, and then I think in the news, I think that what they're going to do in the new series that will be about Obi-Wan, I think we're going to see Darth Maul again.
I think so too. You're right.
I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to put, so there has to be some sort of memory, because they're always in the same place. They're always on, what is it? Mos Eisley. That's where they're all based out of. So you're like, okay, so there's got to be people around there who've seen Jedis or Siths, but all of a sudden nobody has any memory of any of that shit. It almost makes you think it's like, you know how there's wiping of memory.
Yeah.
Like some sort of mysticism behind it, almost like in Harry Potter or Men in Black or something. Like, is there some way that they're unraveling people's memory like the Jedis are, or something? Maybe
well,
that's
you see it when Obi-Wan first meets Luke when they go into town. These aren't the droids you're looking for.
I'm talking about on a grand scale. I'm talking about on a grand mystic level.
They could be doing that because Yoda also had to go into hiding and all that. So maybe they're doing that to protect the Jedi, right? Because they, after the Jedi were wiped out and yada yada yada, they want only the best. And if you're lucky enough to go find them and search them out, you can. In fact, when they go to the stone to sit on, that's a pinnacle point where they go, if you are wanting to find a Jedi. You go to that stone, you sit on it, you commune with them, and if you're lucky enough, one will find you, right? So you have to not only be chosen, you have to make sure that you are chosen. Right?
Okay, now again though, but what does that have to do with me saying that I think that there's some mystical way that they must have messed with everybody's fucking memories?
I just explained it, but that's okay.
No,
I've wiped your mind of
I
the
don't
answer.
think you didn't explain it.
You didn't hear the answer.
You started talking about other
You
shit.
did not hear the answer.
Okay, let me ask this question because this is the other thing that bothers me, and I'm not going to have you answer, Ronz, because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about clearly from the history. Here's what I didn't understand. What I don't understand about all of it, and it probably isn't a question that's ever even dawned on people unless they're Star Wars fans. I'm going to look at the most recent stuff. Okay, why is it in the most recent movies when all the shit was going down and they couldn't find Luke, for example? Why is it that he didn't know that shit was going on and he didn't feel a disturbance in the Force? They say that he shut himself off. Maybe that's why he didn't feel it. But for example, when Alderaan was destroyed, look at Swan. She's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" When Alderaan was destroyed, Obi-Wan could feel a disturbance in the Force, right? But Luke is supposed to be far better than Obi-Wan ever was. He's supposed to be like the best, the creme de la creme. But he doesn't feel all that other stuff and know that there's a disturbance and go to save everybody and shit like that. I find that very bizarre. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with the Mandalorian until the fucking end, which is the best part, which Ron says is the weakest episode. And now we get to what I really want to talk about. First, let's talk about the Darksaber. That just appeared out of nowhere. Clearly, Moff Gideon doesn't need to wield it. Ron, did you know anything about the Darksaber before you saw it? And I'm not talking about Tremonde's cock. I'm talking about the Darksaber from Star Wars.
No, actually, I didn't. No, I didn't.
We know Swan didn't. She's like, "Oh no, I totally knew everything about that."
I was gonna try to make some shit up, but I just decided to keep.
Oh no, that might be interesting. Go ahead.
No, I'm good. No, I'm good. I'm just thinking that there has to be an opposite of the good lightsaber, so that's the Darksaber.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with the crystals that they use or anything like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Actually, Ahsoka-Tano, actually, her white lightsabers. Ahsoka-Tano.
Oh, Ahsoka-Tano, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Her white lightsabers are actually purified from the dark crystals because she
movie The Dark Crystal.
She got a couple of
confusing Jim Henson's other products.
Yeah, I am. But she took some corrupted crystals that were used in I want to say the Sith lightsabers, and took them and purified them, and that's why they're white. So it holds
what up white, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's what holds to what the Swan said, is that I agree with what's if there's a white saber, or what we like to call the Beav saber, there's got to be a dark saber, the Tremonde saber.
Why would I be a white
not
saber?
White.
Well, then I guess
brown.
He's not.
Like a mocha saber. Caramel saber.
Mocha saber.
The mocha saber.
Covered lightsaber.
I like caramel better. Can we have it be caramel, please?
Sure, I'll have the caramel saber. So you know about the dark lightsaber, though? I'm assuming.
Why is Ron's trying to jump on my team?
Yes, of course. I
Ron's on my team.
I watched Clone Wars and Rebels, so I was well aware of.
You want me on your
I
team?
hope that we'd seen it in season 1, and I was pleasantly surprised at the end when we saw it.
Did you watch? Did you enjoy the Clone Wars?
Of course. Yep. Started watching.
I tried to watch them.
They got bored and then they stopped watching, but I kept watching.
Well, because there's only like what,
Rebels or anything. So
9 fucking seasons of like 52 episodes per season.
Yeah, Cartoon Network was going to get everything they could out of that show for sure.
I have not made it through the entire first season because there's too many fucking episodes. I think what they need to do with the Clone Wars is say you must watch these essential episodes.
I actually think Disney Plus has something like that. They have the essential Ahsoka episodes, so you can watch all of her major ones.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and this is
You're wrong.
This is where I found I got a little bit lost for a second there. Is he sought out Ahsoka Tano, but she never became a Jedi.
No,
or
she left
or she became a Jedi and left the Order.
Yeah.
Which is it?
She was a Jedi and left the Jedi Order. But
Yes.
we'll ask our resident nerd.
Yes. So that's what I think. I don't know that for sure. We're waiting to hear from Andy, see if that is correct.
Sorry, what was that? My
The question was
audio cut out for a second. I apologize.
The question was, with Ahsoka Tano, did she ever actually become a Jedi and then leave the Jedi Order, or did she never become a Jedi?
She was never a fully fledged Jedi Knight. She was always Anakin's Padawan, and then she left because she was blamed for something that happened, and the Jedi didn't really act, and she got irritated with the way kind of they were. So she just left instead of being their kind of scapegoat. And I agree wholeheartedly. The Jedi messed up a lot in those prequels, but and I think she was kind of where the Jedi should go. And I think that's what they were trying to make Luke in The Last Jedi was more of a, at least I thought that's how it was going to be. He was a little more what they called a gray Jedi, where he wasn't dark, he wasn't light, because you really can't have one without the other. So you kind of have to, you can't just be extreme left or extreme right. You kind of be in the middle if you want to, really survive. So that's what I thought was going to happen. And I think that's what Ahsoka is to me in her storyline. She kind of becomes that one who walks down the very middle.
See, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking that she was not a Jedi.
I thought she was. My mistake.
That's okay.
Well, that's okay, Ronz. It's okay.
Hey, I don't need your validation. I got it from Andy.
It's okay. It's okay to make those mistakes, because by gosh, that's what makes you you. Now, Swan, what were you thinking? Were you thinking that she was?
I agree with Andy.
In your vast knowledge of the.
I agree with Andy. I'm gonna take Andy's side there.
Hey, thanks.
Yep.
Now.
And if you asked me to explain it again, I couldn't. So I'll have Andy explain it for me.
Oh, there you go.
I guess my question then to you, Swan, is what did you think of the last episode of The Mandalorian?
That Baby Yoda was so darn cute. He was. But I do think he should have got the lightsaber. I think it should have been.
Oh, yeah, that would have been badass. That thing is like 3 times his height.
And it would have been so cute to see him have it.
Just see him wield it and whip around, be like, yeah, motherfuckers.
Yep.
I want to know
the
why.
Lightsaber or the dark saber?
I don't know why he couldn't get his handcuffs off, though.
Still,
I mean,
the dark saber is a lightsaber.
Yeah, you retard.
Wow.
Dark saber is a lightsaber. Just because it has a different color doesn't give it a different designation as its weaponry.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, Darth Vader's lightsaber is red, but it's not the red saber.
I guess you could call it that.
I mean, the dark saber is still it is a lightsaber.
Yes, it just has more of a story along with it versus a regular lightsaber.
Okay. Why are you all of a sudden changing your background, right? You're like, I'm just going to fuck around.
My camera keeps cutting in and out. I want to see if I could stay on. And
I want to know why you had such a fucking problem with the last episode, because I was almost on my feet screaming my head off.
Because I wanted more of a showdown between the wielder of the darksaber, Moff Gideon, and just basically everybody that was against him.
Did you call him Moff Gideon?
Yeah, Moff Gideon.
Moff Gideon?
Moff,
F, like with an F.
Okay, whatever. Right. I call him whatever I like. But yeah, I thought,
I'll call him what I want.
Yeah. I thought because he was always on the run, he would actually run in and they would fight, right? And he would have to yield.
There was your fight. He fought the Mandalorian.
Yeah, but the Mandalorian...
So let me get this right. You wanted Moff Gideon to fight Luke Skywalker. Is that what you're saying?
I wanted him to fight everybody and lose.
Why? He fought the Mandalorian. Didn't you think that was cool enough that the Mandalorian had a freaking spear made out of Beskar and that's how he fought him? That was cool.
That was great. But I think that also because he was always, when you watch that ending scene, he was scared because he saw Luke. right? He was definitely terrified because he knew what Luke was. But until then, he wasn't afraid of anybody. He wasn't afraid of the Mandalorian.
When the fucking X-Wing came flying in, what happened to you when you saw that? When you saw that, what happened?
Nothing. I just watched it.
Okay. All right. Now you silence so I don't freaking have to mute your mic. Okay. Don't say anything. Humor me. Don't say anything. Andy, when you saw the X-Wing flying in, what range of emotions did you have going for you when that happened?
Okay. I will paint the picture. I was laying in my bed watching it at about 5:30 in the morning because I didn't want anything spoiled. So I got up. My wife was gone to work, so I was watching it, and I was kind of laying down. And as soon as I heard the beeps and saw the Solo X-Wing, I sat up,
jizzed a little,
clutched my blanket around my face, and just kind of sat there going, "No way, no way, no way, no way, no way." And then as soon as you see him walking down the hall and you see the cloak,
his belt. You could see his belt.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
I was like, oh my god. And then you see the little video, like you said, of the belt and him with the saber. And I knew then, I'm like, it's got to be Luke. Then they cut to the scene where you see that green saber and his black glove, and I lost it. I just sat there on the edge of the bed just going, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe this is happening. And one of my friends told me it wasn't happening. So the whole time I was just going, fuck you, Ian. Fuck you, Ian. Fuck you. Like over and over again. I was like, they were going to do it because the whole season, or not the whole season, but after episode 6, when he sat him on that rock, I kept telling him, I'm like, there's nobody else that could show up. There's no other Jedi that should. Luke is the person who should show up and needs to. And he was like, I don't think it's going to happen. And I thought to myself, I'm like, they might not do it just because of, Mark's older, Mark Hamill's older and stuff like that. And I was like, it would open up a huge can of worms if we bring in this main character now. Then we'd have to bring in Han and Leia and everybody else if you're going to bring in Luke. So I was like, maybe they'll do it, but probably not. And then when it happened, like I said, I'm not afraid to say I had tears in my eyes. I was literally crying. I was like, this is what I've been waiting my whole life for.
That's how I was.
I think that was similar happening in the when we were watching it. Like, yeah.
That's what happened to you, Swan?
Ooh.
That's what happened to you, Swan?
It sounded like a monkey. No, to you. I'm just saying what happened with you. You're like, oh. I'm like.
Well, I also said, but if you remember, I was like, I'm like, you in trouble now, motherfuckers. Motherfuckers are in trouble. Because I saw it too. I was like, holy fucking Tim. It's fucking him, motherfucker. Oh, yeah. I was fucking excited. But this episode didn't live up to Ron's standard. Seriously, see, this is how I know who is a real fan of Star Wars and who isn't. Because I was fucking screaming. I was like, oh, yeah, now you're dead, motherfuckers.
Now,
and
if
there
Dr.
was
Spock would have showed up, Ron would have been jizzing.
No.
It's not Dr. Spock, but that's funny.
Dr.
Not
Spock.
Dr. Spock?
That's what I'm going to call him from now whenever I see this. Dr. Spock.
Whatever. What is it?
Dr.
No, I
Spock
like
is
Dr.
like
Spock.
world-renowned like obstetrician or whatever. But
Yeah.
The doctor was actually Bones on Star Trek.
Whatever.
Dr. Spock.
Dr. Spock was also an Olympic swimmer too. But you're thinking of Mr. Spock.
Nobody yanked your chain.
Yeah. I like how you switch that. No.
I was so emotional, and this is why I was saying when you're talking about with Moff Gideon or whatever, Moff Gideon could not have stood up against Luke. Period. There was no way. He cut through everything like it wasn't even there. He was only matched. He got beat up by the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian couldn't have stood against Luke. He he crushed he didn't even fight the last one. He's just like, I'm just gonna crush you with the Force, and just destroyed him.
Oh, I understand that, but I thought the Moff Gideon would, do something cowardly and try and run away. I really did. I thought that, basically he would try and fight his way to an escape.
Oh,
right?
Well, technically he in turn tried, because remember he tried to shoot himself, and then
oh, that's right.
Gina,
Yeah, you're right.
Gina's character hit the thing out of his hand and knocked him out with the butt of her rifle. So
yeah, you're right.
He did try to take himself out after he tried to take out Grogu. I won't call him. Who cares? Baby Yoda.
I'll call him Baby Yoda.
But yeah, that was as soon as he got thrown down and I saw that little blaster and he kind of covered it with his cloak, I was like, oh no, he's going to try to shoot Baby Yoda, and this is not going to end well for him.
That would have been sweet because he would have been just like, ooh.
And stop the blaster bolt.
Just stop the blaster. That would have been sweet.
Would have been sweet.
That'd have been sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why some people might be like, "Oh, what are they going to do now?" But I think they could still tie it in canon and just say that Luke hid Grogu and nobody knows where he is, and they could actually pull him in later. I'm like, oh, fuck it.
They could do that, or maybe Grogu learned what he needed to by that time, and then left and went back with Mando, and then Luke started his own Jedi thing, which didn't end too well, but it seems to be the way with the Jedi. They always seem to stuff doesn't go well for them.
Well, I mean, if Grogu's 50 years old in this episode, they could literally go take it 200 years in the future and go from there, and he can be the main dude.
He can be the main guy. Yeah, exactly.
I'd like to see him like 5 foot tall though, and like buff. Like, just like jacked.
Like shredded.
Those cute little ears.
So
he ties his ears back in a man bun. He's like, ugh.
So what was the funniest scene then for you?
Oh, God, there were so many. I think one of the funniest ones was like, one where he's sipping the little bowl. That was fucking hilarious.
No, I like when he's
the other
eating those eggs.
Yeah,
when he was
Where he kept trying to steal the eggs and eat the eggs and like hide them.
Committing genocide.
Yeah, that was fucking
I like that one.
That was a thinly veiled way of saying genocide, because it's like, I'm the last of my lineage, and he said. So then I love when he hid that one egg, and he's got his back to everybody, but on the camera they just show him lifting up that one egg and then slurping on it. I thought that was hilarious.
Oh, I thought the one that was really funny was where he's on the ship and they're flying, and he goes to flip a switch. He's like, "Don't touch that," and then he's like reaching again, and then he flips the switch. That was fucking funny. He's a character, man. He's kind of. The Swan said it the one episode. She's like, "God, Grogu's kind of like an asshole."
He is. He's like a little jerk.
He's kind of a
little
dick.
toddler asshole.
Yeah. Well, I like that. I like that one point where it's like every time he wanted something, right? The Mandalorian said no, but he wound up doing it somehow. Like the running gag or the running joke was he always wanted that silver ball, right next to the Mandalorian, and he said no, and so I thought that would have been a touching tribute at the end of season 2 if you would have gave him that ball.
I said that too. I was like, he should give him the ball, and it would be so cute.
But that's why he in turn kept it, because he told him he would see him again, and when he does see him, he's got the ball ready. See?
Wow.
You got to think ahead to season 3.
Yeah.
So but now what we've got to look forward to now is we'll have Boba Fett's got his own show that's already in production, I'm assuming.
The Book of Boba Fett, yeah.
And then eventually we will see Obi-Wan's thing. Which
Obi-Wan's thing.
Really good. That's gonna be good.
Oh, I think that's what and then the Andor show, which is based on Cassian Andor from Rogue One. Those are my two things I'm looking forward to most, is Obi-Wan and then that, because I think they said that one's going to be 12 episodes.
Oh, wow.
And then I think Ahsoka is going to get her own show too.
Yep.
So that should be good. I really do like how they do things. I was really pleasantly surprised. So, Andy, what was your funniest moment of the show?
Oh, geez. Let's see. I think I'll give you two. When he stole the cookies from that little jerk who wouldn't share with him in school, that was good. But I think my favorite scene was when, at the start of the one episode, when the Mandalorian ship is all messed up, and he's looking at him, and he goes, "Now take the red wire out and put the blue one in." No, not the blue one. Put the red one where the blue one goes. And then all of a sudden he just electrocutes himself. I thought that was funny, because that joke went on longer than I thought it would for a show that's like 40 minutes long. And I'm glad that they gave us stuff like that. So that's probably my favorite.
Oh, there was some great moments. I mean, some of the stuff that you just seen in this series that you haven't seen anywhere else. Like, nobody ever fucking goes to the bathroom.
Right.
Fucking going never seen anybody go to the fucking bathroom.
Nobody naps in Star Wars, and he puts him up on his little hammock and then climbs in there with his legs all tucked in, and then shuts the door behind him. So yeah.
And nobody has jam. Generally, nobody gets a jam in their weapon. The one that I found that was the weirdest one of all is that they're reloading their weapons. I'm like, okay, I've never seen that. Never seen them reload weapons.
Right. I think that's more of a shout out to the video game followers, because you have to cycle through it so the weapon doesn't overheat. I think they were trying to just appeal to the broadest ranges of every Star Wars fan out there and say, if you've watched only certain movies, you're going to like this. If you've only played video games, you're going to, there's something for everybody. I think that's why they did that. But you're right. There should be no need to reload or cycle weapons when you're shooting lasers.
No, they definitely they did a lot of fan service throughout the whole thing, which was pretty cool.
Yes,
like there was each one had a little something, and you're like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I think it was funny with the episode where the stormtroopers hit each other.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that one was really hilarious. This is where they're sitting there and they punch Baby Yoda like.
Oh, that one was hilarious. And then he kept missing his shot because stormtroopers are notoriously terrible shots.
Yeah.
That was very funny.
Yeah.
I think one of the hilarious scenes I like that when they asked the Mandalorian, "Are you going to come down and land?" He's like, "No, I've got some technical problems." And you see what the technical problem was Baby Yoda throwing up on himself. He's trying to clean him up while flying the ship. He's like, "No, I've got some technical problems going on right now. I'll catch you later."
Yeah,
I thought that was so cool.
Shit.
That's what makes him cute. He's so mischievous and jerky.
If anything, also their secondary characters were great. I mean, I didn't see a bad secondary character. I mean, Bill Burr's character.
Bill Burr.
No, actually, you know what? When he came in, the way he does his comedy is, if he were to be angry, that's the way he would be, right? Because when you watch his comedy routine, he talks exactly like that. You know what? I'm here, and I don't give a damn about people, right? And when he goes in there and he's sitting in the cantina with the officer who did Operation Scorched Earth. I'm probably getting that sequence wrong. And he's going, and he doesn't recognize him. And you can just see Bill Burr's character getting pissed off more and more and more. So he says, fine, shoots him. And then it pans over to see that other trooper just standing there like, what the fuck just happened? Like, you just shot him too. And it's like, okay, we got to go. I thought his character was great.
I could have taken it. I could have left it. I'm like, I don't need to see Bill Burr as an ex-Imperial sharpshooter or whatever the fuck he was. It's like, I don't care.
But I think he's going to come back, hopefully, in one of the later episodes, because it turned out he was actually a good guy. All right, when he blew up that, I'm going to get the word.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, when he blew up that rudidium mine.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah.
I don't know. What happened?
Yeah. He blew up the rudidium.
I'm just kidding.
I know you.
I saw the show. I understand what you're saying. There's not going to be another season, is there?
Well, he might come back with because he's
what? You're going to come back with what? Being
in the
Boba Fett show?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? I don't think so. How do you do that?
And I thought Boba Fett was a badass with that gaff, whatever you want to call it.
The gaffy stick.
Are you squeaking, Ronz? Are you fucking squeaking?
No.
Stop.
No, I think that might be somebody walking upstairs. Sorry.
Oh, okay. All right then.
We won't blame Ronz.
I like to blame Ronz for everything.
I will take the blame for that one.
Yeah, that McGaffey stick. In fact, when I was showing Carrie, my wife,
you just call it a McGaffey stick? What? You're making it Irish?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
McGaffey stick.
Yeah, whatever.
When do we have the McGaffey stick?
Yeah, it's like I said, when she was watching bits of it.
Now I've got the McGaffey stick stuck in the kilt.
Yeah, and you watch the stormtrooper's helmet almost shatter off his skull. And my wife looked like, wow, right? I thought it was great.
Was that before or after she had to remove something from your rectum?
Yeah. That mercury thermometer. That's the way it goes.
So sharing thermometers now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, great. Well, we've talked for about an hour now, and that's about all I can stand.
So, did you also know Mark Hamill was the voice of the bartender EV9D9? Do you know that? He was. So he actually was in there.
He was the best Joker by far.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, what was your point?
What's the next series do you want me to watch? Because I watched this.
Oh, Cobra Kai. Watch that.
Better for watching it?
Actually, I did like the series. I was taken aback by it. Like I said, the dialogue was straightforward. There wasn't mincing words. And I liked that. I really did. There wasn't a whole lot of when he wanted something, there was a workaround solution.
You don't have to restate what you already stated. I just said, aren't you better for watching the show? Don't you feel like you're? I mean, other than the fact that you did not get emotional during the last episode, which just goes to show that you are indeed a Star Trek fan and not a Star Wars fan, and that's okay. That's okay. I'm just saying that it's
listen,
clear.
I watched it because you asked me to, and I probably would have watched it eventually, but I watched it because not only was it good, I look at it through, a guy who likes sci-fi. I like a lot of sci-fi. I don't get emotionally invested. Yeah, I don't get emotionally invested into it, but if it's got a good plot, I'll watch it. I really will. If the acting is good, I'll watch it. And I was like, the dialogue was great. Nick Nolte, who did the voice of Quill, right, was awesome in it, right?
Agreed.
Do you prefer the dialogue straightforward, or?
Yeah, I do. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of stuff. Yeah, keep Andy going. Keep him going.
If there's not that much dialogue? What if there's not that much
How about if
dialogue?
there's a lot of nudity?
Well, what show are we watching then?
I don't know. Whatever you normally watch, because clearly that's your interest. I mean, something with butt sex or butt plugs, because we haven't brought those up yet today. I mean, you started to, and we diffused it, but
no, I did. Yeah, so Andy, this is how it usually goes. I'll say something inert, and they'll just warp it, right? Like, so the Beaveman's goal. By the way,
you brought up butt plugs for 2020. You're all on your own.
No, I did not. Let's make that clear. I did not. My son did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that makes it better.
No kidding.
That's an area you should definitely not delve into there, Swan, because you just never mind.
I know.
What
Okay.
are you trying to say, Beaveman?
Well, I was gonna say that I tried to wrap it up, but you wouldn't let me, and you just kept
as usual.
As usual, you won't shut the fuck up. So before we leave, I would just let me ask you this question there, Ronz. If a spaceship crashed in your backyard and took out several power lines that dropped into your backyard, would you go back there and look at the down power lines?
I would.
You would set up a perimeter.
I would set up a perimeter just so I could say, hey, Beaveman, even though I saw you half naked in the locker room trying to get a six-pack going on, this is what I did. Hopefully it's worthy of your time.
Okay. And would you also wear black belts at that time? Just to walk into your backyard?
Yeah.
His black belt, his whitey tighties, and rubber boots.
Where did the rubber boots come from?
No, he wouldn't try to ground.
Why wouldn't you wear them? I'd wear them so you wouldn't get fucking electrocuted.
Who says I'm going to go touch the power line?
Well, we just deductive reasoning.
Deductive reasoning. Yeah, sure.
I liked it. Would you probably try to put your tongue on it to see if it would stick?
Once.
The answer is yes.
Just once. That's all it'll take.
That's all it'll take. All right. Well, we just lost Ron's in and out, and that's okay. But I'd like to thank Andy for joining us on this warped episode of the Slaptail Squad, where apparently the Ronz doesn't get emotional when he should get emotional when it comes to Star Wars. If you didn't get super excited by that last episode, there's something fucking wrong with you.
I didn't say I didn't get excited. I just didn't get emotional over it. Right? You asked me you asked me about the X-Wing, right? And did I know who was in the X-Wing? No, I didn't. Right, but when I saw,
just like, there's some. I don't know why they're panning over to that ship. Who gives a fuck?
Because earlier in one of the episodes, when he's on the ice planet, he's overtaken by a couple of X-wings. So I didn't take anything. It's like, okay, there's an X-wing coming to rescue him.
What just happened in the other episode where he's fucking reaching out to the Force? Yeah, Mr. Kim from Kim's Convenience is flying an X-wing. He has no accent. That was what I loved. You don't even know what we're talking about, do we, Ron? You got to watch Kim's Convenience.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Yeah, animation or live action?
It's a regular show. It's a sitcom. It's called Kim's Convenience.
All right.
Put it on your watch list.
Put it on your watch list.
All right, I can do that.
You can come up with all sorts of racist comments to go with it. No. You'll probably know. Ron, do you have a neighbor that's Korean?
No, I don't actually.
Oh, we'll find one so that you can not be racist
Actually,
against.
I've got a
there we
friend
go.
who's Korean.
There we go.
How about
See?
Canadian?
Probably somewhere in the world. Yeah.
Excellent.
Excellent. That's perfect. All right. Well, I'd like
Andy,
to
wait,
wrap
hold
this
on.
up.
Andy, would you pick me to be on your team?
Wrap this up.
Yes, of course, every time.
Excellent. See?
She's not a very good teammate. Not a very good teammate. Refuses to put anything. Never mind.
I can run
refuses to clean the toilet.
really well, though.
Yep, she will shit stain a toilet and clog it and not do anything about it every single time.
But she'll own it.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you call her out on it, she'll own it.
Yeah. Otherwise, she doesn't. Like, you do not look at the fucking toilet after you go. Seriously. Ridiculous. I don't understand. I mean, they've psychologists have done research that shows that the majority of the people, when they shit, they look at their shit, and when they flush the toilet, they look.
I'm not saying I don't look at my shit. I just don't look at the toilet after I'm done.
Yeah, you got to be proud of that.
Yeah.
The point is, scientific evidence has shown that people do that, and yet
I mean, I'll send you a picture next time.
I don't want a picture. I'm just saying.
Great.
I'm just saying.
There's probably a website out for that. You know.
There is.
Probably, yeah. It's probably on a drop down on your favorites there, Ron.
I'm looking right now. I don't see it on my favorites. What site would you recommend?
My favorite poo.
My favorite
.com.
food. Okay.
Let me get the www dot for you, Ronz, because you like to put that in there every time.
I do.
Necessary, which is not necessary. Yeah, this
I
is
do.
not. All right. Well, once again, I'm going to try to fucking wrap it up, Ronz, if that's okay.
That's okay.
It's
Go ahead.
okay. Go
Is
right
that
ahead.
okay? Sure. Okay. Well, I would like to thank Andy for joining us as our resident geek nerd expert on Star Wars, and thanks for coming on.
No, thank you guys. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Yes, thank you. And I'd also like to thank my number one, Grogu. And then, as usual, I would like to thank the Swan for joining us and say goodbye, Swan.
Bye, Swan.
And Ronz.
Hey.
Yeah. God damn it.
You said his name, so that was you yanked his chain.
I was gonna say thanks, but you know what? Fuck him. Adios, muchachos.
Hey, are you going to
Adios,
demand the last
muchachos.
word?
No, adios,
No, shut up, Ronz.
Oh, okay.